Hey there, welcome back to Elden Ring, our lore playthrough, right? We're just taking our time going through everything, just kind of absorbing things as we move along and, taking in the story as it's presented to us without, like, outright saying, this is the conclusion, this is what this means. Like, I really wanted to, move along, see what kind of like what misconceptions, what like sort of things could we observe without just outright saying what everything is, just kind of like we're playing it the first time, right? Just like I'm playing it the first time again. But, we're still in Caelid, man, and we're finally pushing into this northern part after like just going all around the bush here. This whole journey to find this Dectus Medallion has taken our character all over the place. We come in, we loop it down, like we've been through all these ruins, forts, takes us all the way down to a castle where we fight some champion dudes, which ultimately leads us into more clues about a different quest line. And then we fight, a rotten dragon, the heart of Aeonia, a creepy guy in a shack who wants us to get a needle to save some girl. All so we can try and find this friggin' medallion, dude. Like, I came to the conclusion that, game-wise, the whole purpose of the medallion was to make you go into Caelid and then start looking for it and then do all of this crap. Like, that is the conclusion I've drawn here. But we can see Grace is telling us to go up here. Like, it does want us to go here, right? Because if we follow it along, it tells us to go here, and this is where it can kind of split. Like, we could ignore that one, hit here, and then this keeps pushing us all the way to Castle Redmane, which is really important because it gave us clues to Ranni's quest line. And then it's also where one of the shard bearers is at. That's where the General Radon is at. And we know there's this festival that's supposed to be happening, and the whole fate to Ranni is tied into that. And even this, like, it still pushes up here. So we got to do that for a shard of the Elden Ring. We need to do it for Ranni's quest line because he's holding back the stars, and it's like restricting the fate of the Carrion family, specifically Ranni. But then we look at this one, and and it pushes us out here across the Aeonian swamp, and then up into Celia, and then the back streets where we're kind of at right now, and it's pushing along here. Now, what is it pushing us towards here? And I mean, right now, the only thing I think of is that girl Millicent, which we've gotten an unalloyed golden needle for. Or did I, actually? I might have to go back to Gowry. Ooh, I never went back to Gowry, because he asked us to wait until he fixed it. Oh, lordy. All those... Alright, here we go. Right? Because he... we found it, and he's like, oh, this is like a mastercraft. It's made by somebody who peered into the essence of life, that true essence. And I mean, I think we know who made it because of its name and all the things that are associated with it. It's unalloyed, and unalloyed shows up in a few places, specifically the Miquella's lilies. It's a wilted water lily of unalloyed gold, beloved by the Empyrean Miquella in his youth. And then, there's a couple of other things that end up showing up, I believe. I don't know that we've gotten anything like it yet. But, they do show up. And there's also another thing that Miquella has that kind of ties in with this needle, and that's the bewitching branch. Because when we go and we look at it, it says, I'm not going to try and ramble it without saying exactly. Tree branch blessed with an incantation of an unalloyed gold. And then you pierce a foe using your FP to turn them into a temporary ally. The Empyrean Miquella is loved by many people. Indeed, he has learned very well how to compel such affections. And I mean, when you look at it, it is needle-like, right? The other thing to note is that background, that insignia behind it. So if you ever go and you fight these Clean Rot Knights, which, I went and I did a bit, and I got some of their armor and stuff, which ultimately didn't really tell me much. So maybe their sword did. Let's double check that real quick. Piercing sword, mainly as a backup weapon is, yeah, okay. But the thing about them is some of them cast some kind of like a sacred vow kind of thing. We see it with some of our other things like Vow of Golden Order or whatever. And it has a whole emblem pop up. And emblems are often indicative of like who they came from, what group. And so the emblem that shows up for them is that symbol we see with the bewitching branch. Now, what's going to be interesting about it is this golden needle is supposed to help quell the scarlet rot or something. is the impression I'm getting from this guy. But given some of the description of the bewitching branch, where it's like, you know, it's you pierce a foe with it, and then it compels them to be an ally, right? So, like, how is this needle gonna do it? And it feels sinister that it could be, like, used against their will almost, right? Now it will forestall the rotting sickness.
I'm sure. Will you give it to the girl, Millicent? I will reward you in kind.
Unalloyed golden needle.
Millicent rests at the church atop the cliff beyond Celia, the town yonder.
Yep.
Tended to by the witless pests who worship her, or rather her rotting sickness, as a god. A wretched fate, indeed.
Mm-hmm.
The poor girl, she never wished for any of this.
So the pests. Now, we know what those are, actually, right? I mean, and we'll see them when we get up there. But look at this pest glaive, and they come from those nasty, gross pests who emerged from the swamp of Aeonia. Are they just, like, mutated bug creature things that just, like, truly arose out of the rot itself? Or were they things that twisted and changed from the rot, right? But they worship her, and like he said, not necessarily her, but the sickness she has going on. So they might not be happy about us using this needle to, like, quell it. So it's still an intricately crafted needle of unalloyed gold. Once snapped in half, it has been repaired by Sage Gowry. So I wonder if it'll still work as well, you know. It looks like it's got red on it now, like some kind of blood almost. And it's also interesting, it wards away the meddling of outer gods. And all you need to do is deliver the needle to Millicent, convalescing in the church atop the cliff just beyond Celia. So let's go ahead and work our way up there. Oh, there's a ball. But look, there's an owie. We've seen some ball things before, right? In the Academy of Ray Lucaria. Because they were dropped down on us as a trap on the big walkway trying to get up to the library where Renala was. And we found that there was a big old portal with some sorcerers, obviously, and a pumpkin head pushing it down. These are just, appearing out of the ground. And the sigil is one for, like, I can't tell if it was actually the Carrion family or if it was the Academy of Ray Lucaria. I was kind of hoping there would be something here. It's a whole bunch of crypts and stuff. And, just skeletons coming out. And, I was kind of wondering, too, right? I was having this thought. I was like, why is it, like, every crypt has, skeletons coming out of it? Like, how is that happening? But when you think about what's happening to the death root, like, where did it go? Well, it showed up, it got spread around through the root networks, right? Because we kind of seem to have learned that Godwyn, the Golden, he was murdered. The first recorded death of a demigod in history, according to Rajier. But he was murdered and then buried beneath the Erd tree, right? And then through the root system, the rune of death, which was, like, basically planted into his body by the assassins and is how he died, it spread through the roots. Now, if these roots travel all around the world, or, the lanes between, really, it would make sense that as they, like, are basically infesting the grounds, that when you have these bodies that are in the ground, it would then, cause new life to, like, sprout up and possess their bodies. And so that's how I think when you end up in all these graveyards, why every single one seems to have some amount of skeletons is because they're buried in the ground, and the roots of the Erd tree, and by extension the Great Tree, are basically permeating everywhere. And I mean, look at that thing there, dude. It's so cool. They're permeating everything and then finding these bodies that are already dead. Because that's the thing. They're not, like, infesting, like, people that are alive. Not necessarily, right? It's things that are already dead. There is some other kind of death blighty thing. Like, Rajir's afflicted, but most people, they don't typically just die because they just go on to become zombies. There's shambling corpses and stuff, right? Also, I just want to say, like, I mean, just look how friggin' cool that is, man. It's so awesome. And it's totally like Nausicaa, and then you get the great warriors and their bodies that are just, like, remains throughout the world. Church of the Plague. Now, what do we find in here? It's a big broken church. That's pretty par for the course. Sacramental bud, which we know was like young buds that have like blood in them. Blood that was like, you know, sacramental or something important. Believed to originate long ago from a strain of buds cultivated with youthful sacramental blood. Youthful, though. So, from a young person. Interesting. All right, but we get here. And this is Millicent. She's, you know, making sounds of pain, I would assume. Her clothes are bloody. It just seems to be some kind of simple dress thing. Which, I mean, we kind of saw when, you know, she invaded us. And she has red hair. She looks to be missing an arm. I wonder if she cut it off to, like, try and stop the rot, right? I mean, that seems like a pretty logical thing. But what's interesting, if she's here and she's sick, she invaded us, right? Why did she invade us out in the swamp, right? We're out here, and then she shows up. So was it just some kind of extension of her spirit? Because she was wielding a blade. I don't remember if she had two arms in there or not, right? And I mean, if it's an extension of the spirit, it would make sense if, like, she could have two arms. But then, like, why? Why would she be trying to, like, stop us or just get people who are out in the swamp? Unless she's somehow tied there. I mean, she has a rot and they're worshiping her for some reason. There's all these Aeonian butterflies. What do you have to say?
Who's there? Well, it matters not. If you are wise, you will leave immediately. My flesh writhes with scarlet rot. It is a curse. Not to be meddled with by man.
Well, if we don't give it, does she say anything? Anything else? No.
If you are wise, my flesh writhes with...
Alright, let's give her the unalloyed gold needle.
You ask that I stab myself with
So
the needle.
she does have to stab herself.
Quell the scarlet rot. But how? Never mind. I've decided I would rather trust you than simply continue to spoil from within. Would you mind averting your eyes for a moment?
Okay. No choice. I mean, to be fair, yeah, if I got a choice between rotting away or, like, try and do something crazy to stop it, maybe.
That was easier than expected. But why do I feel so...
Oh. And she's, like, holding her chest. I don't remember if that's exactly where her arm was earlier. I wonder where she stabbed the needle. But now she's, like... She's out cold. So let's rest, maybe. And there she goes. She's standing up now. She's still a bit bloody, missing an arm. But her hair is tied back now, it looks like. You know, as opposed to the just kind of ragged mess. Her eyes are very golden-y yellow looking. She's got some markings on her face. Might be a, you know, just a mark or a scar or something residue from being afflicted by the scarlet rot. Huh. All right.
I hoped to see you again.
I mean, it was just sitting right there, right?
Apologies for when last we met. I fainted before I could even thank you. Everything is as you said. Since inserting the needle, the scarlet rot has ceased to writhe. Even the nightmares have abated.
Nightmares.
And now, though I can scarcely believe it myself, I can move as I please. Not that I could ever truly repay you, but I would like you to have this, by way of thanks. A token though it is.
Prosthesis wearer heirloom. Yeah, so something that's kind of interesting. I didn't think about this before, and I didn't remember this. But she said even the nightmares have stopped. So, I mean, she could have just been having nightmares because, you know, she was afflicted by an incurable sickness that was going to rot her away from the inside, right? But, you know, the other thing, you know, one of the things that the gold needle, the unalloyed gold needle is supposed to do, you know, sort of like halt the Scarlet Rot, but also prevent the meddling by outer gods. And, you know, outer gods makes me think of Bloodborne, which has a huge eldritch thing to it, and nightmares are a big part of it. And so I wonder, was there some kind of meddling happening from some outer god to her, and that's why she was having nightmares, and now they've stopped because she has that needle in her. Prosthesis wearer heirloom. Very much like these other ones. This is strength. This is dexterity. A talisman engraved with a scene from a heroic tale. Heroic tale, heroic tale. These are a legend. All right. So, though born into the accursed rot, when the young girl encountered her mentor and his flowing blade, she gained wings of unparalleled strength. So, the one born into the accursed rot would have to be Millennia, right? So, she met her mentor and his flowing blade, and then she gained wings of unparalleled strength. Now, if we look here on the blue dancer charm, it says the dancer in blue represents a fairy who in legend bestowed a flowing sword upon a blind swordsman. And then, blade in hand, the swordsman sealed away an ancient god, a god that was rot itself. So it's interesting, the parallels here, right? Where we have some fairy gives a flowing sword to a blind swordsman who defeats rot, an ancient god, a god that was rot itself. Now, a thing about that's kind of interesting there too is this unalloyed needle, you know, prevents meddling from outer gods. And if the ancient god is a god that was rot itself, see how there's a tie in between meddling and like it quelling the rot. And then I like this, like, you know, I don't know what you would call it, but like you have this guy who defeated rot, and then he finds someone to mentor who is born into rot as well, which is fun. And then what's the significance of gaining wings? I mean, wings I would often associate with freedom. So maybe she found freedom in her like learning swordsmanship from this guy. All right, cool. So she's gonna go on a journey. She's remembering something distantly because I guess she didn't remember things before. Hi, guy. So I wonder why, you know, the needle is allowing her to remember things. I mean, maybe just a rot was messing with her head, so now that it's like no longer doing things to her, she can essentially function completely. And then the journey is like, where could the journey be, right? Where could it be, the destination? Now, something I would like to note as well, I didn't notice it at the time when I was playing on the last one when we defeated Commander O'Neill, but we had summoned that adoptive daughter, Pollyanna, and she helped us out a little bit, right? And going back through and editing it, there's something that I noticed, and she cast a spell, and it's the same spell that those things do, where they shoot out all those like tendrily things that fly out and get us, which is a little weird for a person to just be doing, right? I mean, I guess she could have picked up any kind of incantations, much like we do. That looks super sick. Dude, look at the red reflection of the, like, that sun and stuff. Oh, that looks pretty freaking dope. But here's another one of those, like, little star basin things with more starlight shards. And we see that there is a gatekeeper. One of the Ross's statues. Takes us way down there. So, yeah, I mean, we saw this from a distance over there before. This is on the other side. So there's a dungeon somewhere way down there. It's almost like we could jump down and along there. And this big, like, field. There's a big empty field. You know there's something there, right? Like, it's not empty. You know it's not empty. Another Michaela's Lily. Excellent. Nothing really exciting else over there. Oh, look at that big old thing right there. There's a dude in some clothes. Huh. So there, I think we've seen some others kind of like that, but look how this one's kind of different than the others. The other ones, like, we've gotten skeletal militiamen, skeletal bandits. But this dude looks like, he actually looks like a soldier. I mean, even that one, even though he's a bandit, right? He's got like armor on. The rest are kind of, I don't know. Yeah, it's just like, they feel like just really basic, like, I have no kind of gear, like the bare minimum. But they're still really old, right? A Sunrealm shield. Oh, beautiful. I was really hoping that would drop. It's a super cool shield. I mean, you can see him wearing it there, right? So, Shield of Honor depicting a city crowned by the sun. It has seen better days. Much like the wear upon the shield, the seat of the sun is long faded away. Now, that is something, right? There's not a lot about the sun, right? Look at, he's actually got robed things on, which is kind of interesting looking. But there's not a lot to be said about the sun, right? It's not like the moon. Like, there's all kinds of things that talk about the moon. I mean, we've got Renala, queen of the full moon. There's something about Rani and, like, a dark moon. There's the black moon that hung over the Eternal City. There's all kinds of stars, comets, things like that. But nothing that's like, oh, the sun. Which, I mean, it feels like the sun should be a big deal, but, like, where is it? All we see is the Erd Tree, which is what is providing all the light, right? I mean, there is still night, so the sun still exists in some fashion, but it's like, it's outshone by this giant golden tree. And the seed of the sun, it said, faded away long ago, something? The seed of the sun is long faded away. So, I mean, it used to be really important. Now it's gone. Oh, hello. Now, it could just be a kind of like a reference to some of the Dark Souls games, and like Gwyn and whatnot. But it could be something actual in here. There is some stuff to do with the sun, but it's not necessarily just the sun. It's the eclipsed sun, right? Where we've got the shield here. Eclipsed Great Shield. The eclipsed sun, drained of color, is a protective star of soulless demigods. It aids the Mausoleum Knights by keeping destined death at bay. So there is something to be said about, is a sun tied with destined death then? And so the eclipse, because it's, lined with the sun, does that mean, like, it somehow protects them from that? And that's how it does it? Because the sun ties with destined death? Oh, a spring jump. This is awesome. So here we are. We're finally up in this northern part now. Awesome. Maybe we can jump on that big skull. Yeah. Oh, there's all kinds of bodies and stuff too, dude. And it's raining. There's that divine tower. We can see Gorank's bestial sanctum. That is a dragons. There's a fort. Okay. All right. Smithing Stone 7. Wow. Smithing Stone 7. Holy cow. Stone Sword Key. Smithing Stone 8. Alright. Look at the texture on this thing. It's kind of gross looking. I mean, it's got the stuff growing on it, but it doesn't look like just straight bone. It looks fleshy, almost. Look at that bird's eye view of this whole place. Alright, Smithing Stone 7s and 8s. These might tell us a little bit more. So, yeah, Smithing Stone 7. Alright, look at this. So, here's what we've been seeing here, this progression. See how these have, like, little veins of gold in there. Found throughout the lands between, but then when you get into Smithing Stone 5, mined near the foot of the Erd Tree, they're said to have been used to bolster the strengths of the royal forces, right? Now, what's interesting is when you go from here, these still have, like, all these looks of, like, gold, but look how these are, like, they're like silver and white, which is a lot like these that have been drained of color, which is a lot like the eclipsing, the sun drained of color. But it's interesting that, like, it doesn't stay gold. Like, you would feel like, oh, gold is so important. It should be gold, like super gold when you get to, like, the higher tier. But no, it shifts, and it looks almost like astral-like, right? Like, look at it. It's kind of like a starry color or something. Found in a polar region, it is semi-vitrified. Oh, so it's frozen. Oh, so these are found near the Erd Tree, tinged with gold, right? And then this is found near polar regions, thought to have been used to hone the weapons of the champions of the war against the giants at the birth of the Erd Tree. So in the birth of the Erd Tree, there were champions to defeat the giants. And why would they defeat the giants, right? To seal away the Fell God, which has, like, the Fell Flame, which is anathema to the Erd Tree. And so when you've got these people with this birth of some big old tree, you don't want this big fire thing or something to burn it down. So obviously you're going to try and bring them down. That is a huge old dragon, dude. Ujol dragon body. That's a living dragon right there. Greyoll's dragon barrow, which is where we need to be, right? Fort Faroth and the dragon barrow far to the east. So yeah, we're far to the east. There's a fort right there. There's dragons. We're in the dragon barrow. All right, let's take out some dragons. You know what? We're gonna use a rune arc as well because we can. Why not make ourselves a little bit stronger? He's actually weakened. I wonder why he's hurt. Huh. I would like to hit the body though. Oh. There's a lot of screaming happening actually. That's a little concerning. I have a debuff on me. Oh, I did not mean to do that. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got an attack damage debuff and armor debuff, it looks like. And swipe. Swipe. Oh, I hit him. Come on. All right. 1 down. There's more to go because we heard them. There's a big health bar. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. So dragon barrow. I mean, that makes it seem like a home. And with a big giant one, I mean, that seems pretty important. At least, you know, with his body and stuff. We also found exeats nearby, really, you know, relatively nearby. And it would make sense that the Cathedral of Dragon Communion would be here, you know, at least in this region, because if there's a lot of dragons here, they would make a chapel nearby to, you know, do that said communion in order to draw the strength from them. But it seems a little strange that the dragons would suffer that cathedral to be so close to them, right? Hello, other dragon. Oh, he's full health. Why is this one full health? But his eyes aren't glowing red either. So I wonder, right? Those other ones are upset because I think of where we were, right? Oh, he's not taking like jack for damage right now. Good stagger. Another fully charged R2. Then we get the hit. It's that damage debuff we got. We need the bleed because this is not going to be easy for us otherwise. Oh, wait a second. Oh, that thing is alive, dude. Dude, look at it too, though. It's so cool looking. It's got, I love the frills on the side of it. Covered in fur. So, like, oh. So why can't it move? Do you think it's, like, sick with the Scarlet Rot? And that's why it can't, like, actually do anything? It's so cool. It's so massive too, dude. Now, we've only seen one other one like that. Now, I didn't show it in any kind of recording. However, there's a Tower of Return way down in the Weeping Peninsula. When you take the Tower of Return, where does it take you? It takes you down, or way up, actually, to the capital. And what do we see there? There is a body of a dragon. A big, massive dragon. Now, there is something, you know, some things that go with the capital and dragons. Like, we saw there's some dragon apostles thing, and it talked about a cult. And, I mean, typically, I would say cults are generally, like, I would say frowned upon, secretive, right? Like, that's the general impression you immediately start thinking. And why would they be like that? Well, one is if, like, you know, they don't like the dragons. And if there's a big, giant body across the capital, I mean, that would maybe have some explanations for it. But also the fact that, like, everybody's about, like, the Erd Tree and the Golden Order, which do seem to be distinct things. Like, the Golden Order doesn't necessarily seem to be, like, the Erd Tree. Just like following the Erd Tree doesn't necessarily seem to mean you're about the Golden Order. Even though the two do seem really closely aligned, they aren't the same thing. So anyways, like, the whole point of that is you got this cult, this dragon cult, and it's a cult because the, you know, the general, like, religion, as you might say, is the Erd Tree, is the Golden Order. And so it would be kind of weird to have people who are about dragons. That would make it a cult because they would kind of follow it in secret. but I'll have to read the description to see like who all it was and double check like what it tells us. Is it still alive? Did we defeat it? Look at the huge pebbled skin and stuff. Do I have a golden foot? Because this is going to be a lot of rooms. I think maybe one good place hit on the face might do it. If I could get it in the eye, that'd be super cool. There it is. Aw. Kind of majestic, dude. And sad. Got a dragon heart times 5 and a whole bunch of runes. The other dragons died, it looked like. The other one there that might have been more. And it was just laying across this huge pile of rot stuff. So, yeah, maybe it was just really old. Maybe it was just, like, really sick. It would have to be sick, though, because you imagine dragons are supposed to be immortal, right? They're not supposed to die. So, I mean, maybe because it's not like an ancient dragon, so maybe it could die of old age. Yeah, so the ancient dragon sings. Capital's ancient dragon cult. So it's been along for a long time because it's ancient. And see, here's the thing about the gravel stones I was trying to remember some videos ago. So dragon wound grease. Solidified grease made from a mixture of gravel stones. So it could have been using that here. Craftable item, coats the armament, granting anti-dragon effects. It only lasts for a short time. But when dragons were born from their ancient kin, they lost their stone scales, which can now be used to cause them mortal harm. So you had the ancient dragons, which had stone scales. Hence, in the description of the talismans, they would make a stone wall to defend their lord. Who is their lord anyways, right? A lord of dragons, I guess, right? But then you have these new modern dragons are born, and they no longer have these stone scales. But they're like, it's interesting that the thing that their ancestors had is antithetical, is that the right word, to these current dragons. But then when you go and you look at the, at dragon hearts, like what's going on with it, what's on it, riddled with gravel stones. So it's like the stone scales, like I'm assuming that's what the gravel stones are, because that's what you need to make it, and that's what's bad for the regular dragons. But it's in their heart of sorts. But where did we finally find here? Fort Faroth. We finally made it. It's crazy. What's interesting though too, so this is a way I've never gotten to Fort Faroth before, I'll be completely honest. But what's interesting is the paths we took felt very natural in how we explored, and it took us along these quest lines. And then what did it do? It literally dropped us off where we were trying to find things. Isn't that crazy? Like, it did ultimately lead us up there, which is super cool. We could totally summon our bird here. I think we will. And then maybe we'll just buff this up, because who knows what's going on here. Fort Faroth. Bats. Hi, guys. Now, luckily, we're no longer debuffed from the dragon, because that had some big downsides happening to us when we were fighting some of the. Oh, it's a big old granny bat. But when we were fighting like a regular kind of dragon dude, it did not take much damage from us at all. The only reason we were able to win some of that really well was because we had the blood flame stuff going on, so we could actually bleed them out. That's a second granny. I do not consent to being grabbed. I do not consent to this. Oh, I'm gonna die. Oh, heal. Oh. I wonder if I'd pulled out the storm collar. That might have been okay. This fort is rugged. Oh, there's an item right there. We can see it. All right, looks important. It's got that legendary glow to it. So that might be what we're looking for, right? Yeah. Oh, nice. Big hits. Big hit again. Get some bleed. Come on, get some bleed. All right, please stop that. Oh, we got her. Oh, nice. Golden Rune 9. Oh, there's 2 more grannies? Whoa, there was 3 of them? Dude, I don't want to fight this at all. This is awful. Yeah, what do you guys have to say about that? Yeah, what do you think about that? Big charge. Big charge. Okay. Now we spin. Nice. Oh, the storm collar was really good. It really takes him out of the air. Nice. All right, we're going to use this as an... Oh, I don't have any more blue flasks because I drank it already. I need to move... Oh, okay. I missed. Oh, that's a problem. Maybe I can block except if she grabs. Ah, I did it. Ooh. Oh, what a rugged fight. I have no blue flasks left, though. All right. Up the ladder we go. Oh, we got the blue flasks back. Nice. Thank you. There was one bat left we had to finish. But we're going up the ladder now because there isn't really anything else left there. But this place is exceptionally abandoned. Like, the other ones still had, like, guys in there, even though they're, like, old, kind of decrepit and stuff. Like, at the end of the day, there is still, like, I don't know, kind of occupied. This is, like, beasts. And there's our Dectus Medallion. Right. Now, does it say anything different? It might tell us where the left one is. Right half of a split medallion depicting the Erdtree. Both halves will allow us up. The left half is said to see be in fort height. Okay. Wonder why it was put in those places. All right, so there is more here, right? Huh. Something this way? Look at this view again, dude. Another minor Erdtree. We haven't done any of the minor Erdtrees here in, oh, Caelid yet. Oh, dead soldiers. Dead soldiers. Okay. Who strung them up? I mean, I guess... Oh, and look. Those guys. Now, those would have to be puppets, right? Because when we... And they're red mane guys, too. Right? And so the reason I say they're puppets is when we go through the Caria Manor, we fight guys that are just like this, right? Only they are the, like, Koku ones. And... I am assuming they're puppets because we can get puppet spells from Celavus, and this is what they look like, this dark blue, right? And so that's what these guys are, and because they're not spirits, they're just bodies who've been, like, magically possessed, I guess, and controlled. So why? One, why? Two, who? It would have to be a Carian person, right? I would assume, since that seems to be where this puppety magic is originating from. And then why did they plant them here? Are they trying to protect the Dectus Medallion? Even though they weren't actually by the Dectus Medallion, they're at the rest of it. So, I don't know, dude. Alright, so there's a ladder right here that'll take us down. More soldiers again. Yeah. Alright, what's going on in here? Be wary of left. Oh, yeah, there's a rat. Hi, rat. God, these enemies are, like, really sturdy. This fort is, like, I don't know entirely why... I mean, I have some ideas about why they made it so strong, but the enemies here are brutal. Golden Rune 12, however. Oh, okay, so, right, so some of these, when they say those born at the foot of the Erdtree are blessed, or at least that's the enduring belief of the people in the plateau, because that's where, you know, the Erdtree is. Then we get to this one. Grace that dwells in the inhabitants. The grace of gold blessed those who were first to serve it with the most vivid coloration. So those who first serve the Erdtree have the most vivid gold coloration. So that's where these big runes seem to be coming from. Those who first, like, seemed to, I guess, follow behind it, right? All right, another drop down. It's got a ladder. And there's that item. Radagon's Soar Seal. A little different, right? So previously we got the Scar Seal, right? Eye engraved with an Elden rune, said to be seal of King Consort Radagon. They represent the lifelong duty of those chosen by the gods. Now, same thing as far as, like, sealed with or engraved with an Elden rune. The appearance, though, it's, like, sunken in. Like, it's been, like, really soaking into the eye, I guess. Greatly raises those things. But solemn duty weighs upon the one beholden, not unlike a gnawing curse from which there is no deliverance. Yeah, so he had some kind of big duty that he just couldn't, you know, couldn't let go. Held on to him super tight, very bad for him, right? All right, so we got a couple things here to do right quick before we actually cut this one out, and then we can call it good. And then the decision is, do I do some more things in Caelid? Because there's still more things to do. Do I put a pin in it and go and finally take the Dectus Medallion, the water tunnel, whatever, up to the Altus Plateau? Or do I go and I try and check out this festival thing so that I can finally, like, you know, push the Ronnie quest line a little bit, since we seem to know how to fix her alignment with the stars, right? Or her fate. So we're moving back in here to kind of talk to Gowry, because, like, anytime you do a quest thing with people, you should always go back to check in with them. It's just good practice in a From Software game. But he's gone. Instead, we find Millicent, who is starting her journey, right?
Oh, hello again. Something about this place felt familiar to me, so I decided to pay a visit. Hoping to find someone here, but I've only found emptiness. Perhaps before my departure, I needed someone to say farewell to. Well, never mind that. I must focus on my journey, for which I have you to thank. I must stay strong.
All right.
Well, I must...
Yeah, totally. All right, so I wonder where Gowry went off to, right? We can totally switch it back and double check again, right? Again, another good practice. If one thing kind of happens and then it doesn't seem super clear, go back, do it again, just in case. Also, we still have to get up to the troll guy, because he's up there throwing crap at us. There's some things to drop down. There has to be a way to get to him, right? And he's back. Yeah, see, we got some good news, bud.
Thank you kindly for giving the needle to Millicent. Now she too can begin her journey and stare her fate straight in the eye. You've been a saint through and through.
Okay.
As thanks, I vow to impart to you my knowledge
Oh, cool.
of the lost sorceries of the Selians, descendants of the Eternal.
Oh, descendants of the Eternal. So who are the Eternal? Well, all right, Eternal City. So is Celia, the people who lived here, these sorcerers, somehow tied with the Eternal Cities? Which, I mean, there is that big chair thing, right? The, like, crypt chair or whatever it is. And that's what we find down in the underground, the Dragon Soldier of Noxtella, in what I assume is the outskirts of an Eternal City. So what do we got? Glintstone Stars, which we already have. Night Shard and Night Maiden's Mist. So Night Shard, one of the night sorceries of Celia. Semi-invisible, blah, blah, blah. The assassins said they hunted their fellows. Okay, so, you know, fair enough. And actually, looking at it, the emblem on the back of it does look to be, I think, the same as the Carrion family one. Night Maiden's Mist. I can't see what's on the back there. It is different, though, like, right? It seems different. It still says one of the night sorceries of Celia, but it releases a life-sapping silver mist before the caster, dealing damage to all caught within, including the caster. It can be cast while in motion. Below Celia, the eternal city of Nokron sleeps. This sorcery originates from the maidens of that place. So there's the eternal city of Nokron beneath us. So, all right, so we look here. We have this whole thing where some ancient dynasty type stuff, right? But we also see some things right underneath us, or right like above it, right? Like there's this well that we take up. We can see structures all up here and a whole layer that we couldn't reach. And then it comes up into the Seafra well. And then we've got Celia, which is kind of right above it. Not immediately above it, but close enough. I guess if you say the city used to extend further, maybe that makes a lot of sense, right? Huh, and the maidens came up with that life-sapping thing.
That little Millicent goes unharmed. Like her mother, she has the stuff to be a great warrior, but commands only one arm and is yet preciously young.
So who is her mother? Potential to be a great warrior, huh? So she paid a visit, though.
Oh, you noticed, did you?
Yeah, it was right there.
Indeed, Millicent did visit this hovel of a home. It seems the memories eaten away by the rotting sickness yet remain, but faintly. However, she has no need of me anymore. No, she must embark on her journey and stare her fate in the eye. I mustn't impede. As I've aged, I've found the best way to aid the young is to be forgotten.
Huh. So, you know, kind of like I said earlier, like she said some of the memories were coming back. And so I wondered if it had something to do with Scarlet Rot, because that's what changed. And it does, like he said, it ate away at her memories too, I guess. No more sorceries. Leave. Nothing else to say?
Need me for something else?
Study sorcery? No? Okay. Oh, and actually, if we look here, look how there's a road that goes like that. So we went beelined it straight into the church, but there's a whole other path we could be taking here. Oh, we found the troll. Oh, there's a lot of, demi-humans. It's been a while since we've seen any of them. I wonder why they're up here. Now, normally when you see a bunch of jars like this, they're normally by, like, one of those, minor herb trees or something, right? There's not one here. There is just a big mound of this. So, do you think it was an Erd tree that got overtaken by the rot, maybe? Though we do see a couple minor Erd trees in this region. So, Yeah, he didn't drop nothing for us. But there is a path right here. Whoa, hello. Black key bolts. Those are used by an assassin of the Round Table Hold, right? If we go and we look at them, yeah, bolts used in the Black Key crossbow, an assassin's tool of exquisite. Yeah, and it drives and burrows rot deep in there. So it makes sense that you would find it here, because, I mean, if it's delivering rot, and if rot is really as incurable and deadly as they're saying, you know, it also makes sense that an assassin would use it. And this is a lone little tower. Looks like a jail cell with, a Bloodhound Knight. Hi. Poor guy. Yeah, I didn't stand a chance. Sorry, guy. Swamp Lookout Tower. Eternal Darkness. Forbidden Sorcery of Celia, Town of Sorcery. Interesting that's a forbidden spell, huh? Even though they seem to be like night things. Eternal Darkness. Creates a space of darkness that draws in sorceries and incantations. Originally a lost sorcery of the Eternal City, the despair that brought about its ruin made manifest. Oh. So, this is like a spell that is like a manifestation of the despair of the Eternal City that ultimately brought about its ruin. And so what is it? The Eternal Darkness. I mean, they are cast in like a kind of eternal night of sorts. So I wonder... So did they... Maybe they weren't supposed to have night. Maybe they weren't about it. I mean, they had a moon. Maybe they had like cycles or something. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this. Now I just have to make the decision. Do I want to try and explore up here? Because there's a big swath here. I kind of want to get out of Caelid, to be honest. Like I'm pretty much, I feel pretty done with it for right now. So I think rather than doing the festival thing, I think we'll go up here next time and get up into the old into the Altus Plateau. You know, we have the lift medallions. We could totally just take the lift up there. But I also want to do that side passage. There's some stuff there to do, some important things, you know. But thanks for checking out. Hope you guys enjoyed it. You know, always fun to like go through things and just take a look at them. Because sometimes you just notice things that you didn't notice before. And that's always kind of cool. Always enjoy that. So yeah, until the next one, take care.